Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video, we're going to be talking about a potentially historic winter storm for some regions. This is going to be a very major event. I'm expecting a lot of freezing rain and a ton of snowfall. Now, before I get started with this video, though, I would ask that you do subscribe if you do think weather-related content. Also, make sure to share this video with your friends, family, and social media. I'd also highly recommend that you check out our very exciting Patreon page in the description and in the pinned comments down below. Then also our very awesome channel membership. You can click that button that says join next to the subscribe button, and that'll tell you all about it. Alright, for today's comment of the day, I want to know, how much snowfall do you think is possible with this upcoming winter storm? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll be picking one of those for tomorrow's video. First things first, we're taking a little bit of a look at that kind of snowstorm slash ice storm, very minor event that is starting to take place there for the southeast. You can see there is some freezing rain finishing up there for the southeast, and this is going to translate into a bit of snow up there for New England and the portions of the northeast, with some more freezing rain for the mid-Atlantic. But actually, as things have progressed, this doesn't even look like the most major event that we have on the way. So let's zoom into the central United States, where we're actually taking a look at kind of the beginning portion of that major winter storm that could be historic for some regions. For the Rockies, this is going to mean a lot of snowfall for you guys. Of course, we're going to take a look at the national total snowfall in a bit. Now, as we progress towards about Sunday morning time frame, maybe about 10 or 11 a.m. there, you can see some moderate snowfall going on for some pretty unusual regions. Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, seeing some pretty significant snowfall with some freezing rain coming down pretty much east of Dallas and Fort Worth there, even in through Arkansas and Louisiana as well. What we're going to do is we're just going to move on and progress even further with this storm. Now, by about 1 a.m. there on Monday, February 15th, you can see we still see plenty of snowfall going on for regions in Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas there as well. So it has been snowing for a good amount of time by this point. Most of that freezing rain has moved up into Arkansas, Mississippi, and Tennessee as well. By the time we reach maybe about 11 a.m. or 10 a.m. there on Monday, so about 24 hours after that snowfall began there for Oklahoma, we're still seeing moderate snowfall. We're seeing even heavier snowfall down there for Texas, regions close to Dallas, Fort Worth region. That's going to be even further south than that as well. And then some freezing rain, even reaching the coast of Texas potentially. So this is a very unusual event. And you can probably see why I say historic, because these do not happen very often at all. Winter storms that reach that far south. And that is all thanks to our polar vortex that is causing this extreme pattern that's allowing for cold enough air to make its way that far south for a winter storm of this magnitude to reach regions like this that are not typical at all. It takes such a specific pattern for this to occur. I mean, we're watching history right now in the making. Now, as we progress towards about Monday, I would say about 3 p.m., we zoom out. You can see there's snowfall going on for the northeast, and then also for portions of the deep south like Louisiana, Arkansas, and then kind of through the plains like Missouri there. Even a little bit of Texas still seeing some of that, and then some freezing rain on the eastern end of that little bit of a storm down there. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to move on, and we're going to progress as this moves up into the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley, and then eventually the northeast as well. All right, now here we are taking a look at, I would say, approximately 11 p.m., maybe 10 p.m. there on Monday, February 15th. As you can see, a good chunk of that snowfall has, for the most part, moved up into Mississippi, Tennessee, Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky. And on the eastern front of that, where that warm air is making its way in through the southeast because of that southeast ridge, we see the polar vortex and the southeast ridge just kind of battling at this point, and that's what's causing these extreme storms with the major freezing rain there, and then the significant snowfall going on further north and further west than that freezing rain there. The freezing rain is going to be really coming down for areas where I really anticipate extreme impacts because of this, because these regions are not used to that significant amount of freezing rain. This could be disastrous. We're going to be watching closely as that situation unfolds, but I just want everybody that lives down there to be safe. Try not to drive if you don't have to, and if you absolutely must drive, just go very slow. For an area, I live in an area that at least sees some snowfall and some ice, not a lot, but I do see some. You have to slow down so slowly, otherwise you're just going to completely slide. And that's just the snow I'm talking about. So once it's freezing rain, it's even worse. So really just be careful, please. Because, I mean, what we saw in Dallas and Fort Worth just yesterday, I mean, things like that happen. And nobody thinks that it's going to happen to them, but it still happens. So please be careful out there. As we progress towards about 6 a.m. there on Tuesday, February 16th, you can see a lot of that snowfall has moved up into the Ohio Valley, the Great Lakes, even Pennsylvania, New York, seeing some of that. And then a lot of freezing rain there for Kentucky, Ohio, West Virginia, up in through Pennsylvania, Maryland, and then kind of like the northern and western regions there of Virginia, even DC, Maryland, and New Jersey getting in on some of that as well. Again, pretty significant amounts of that coming down as well. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to move on towards where this is going to move up into New England and the Northeast. We're going to take a look at another storm that could occur after this. Then we're going to take a little bit of a look at what the GFS says is going to happen, even taking a little bit of a look at the total snowfall and the total freezing rain towards the end of this video. So there's a lot of things still to come in this video. All right, now here we are taking a look at approximately, I would say 3 p.m. there on Tuesday, February 16th. You can see a lot of that freezing rain moves up in through northern New Jersey, eastern Pennsylvania, southern New York, a lot of Connecticut, Massachusetts, Rhode Island. So this storm is going to eventually make its way all the way to the northeastern United States and bring significant impacts there as well. And then it moves out by the time we're taking a look at about Wednesday morning. Okay, by about 1 p.m. the next day, you can see our next storm is underway for the south central United States there, but that's going to be a storm we need to talk about in the future because it's so far out at this point. But you can see it does eventually enter into the eastern United States, bringing some impacts to these regions as well. So we're going to be watching for that storm very closely as well. And likely after we're done talking about this storm we've been talking about throughout this video, that'll probably be in a few days. We'll stop talking about that one. We're going to move on to this one at that point. So this is going to be our next winter storm we're going to be talking about after the one we're talking about today. Now, the total snowfall only for the first snowstorm, so this does not include that one I just mentioned. This is the total snowfall for that first storm on our European model. Take a look at these amounts. Absolutely crushes the south central regions of the United States that are not used to even seeing a few inches of snowfall. Seeing potentially, and there in central Oklahoma, potentially 15 to 20 inches of snow. Absolutely just a monster snowstorm here. If this does occur like anything like what this is showing, we would see significant impacts. If you're anywhere in the grays, you're expecting a dusting, if anything. In the blues, we're talking about 2 to 6 inches of snow. Purples, more like 6 to 10. And then within those pinks, about 10 to 20 inches of snow in kind of those pastel, brighter shades there. That's where we're at 20 inches plus. So we see some of that there for Texas and Oklahoma, also some up there for Wyoming and through Nebraska, and obviously the very mountainous regions there of the Rockies as well. We even see 15 inches plus move up through Missouri into Chicago, the Great Lakes. So this is going to be a very major snowstorm as well. This one's crazy, guys. As we move up into the eastern United States, you can see even New England and portions of New York as well see 10 inches plus in those pinks. So, I mean, very significant situation, widespread snowfall. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to move on. We're going to take a look at the total freezing rain according to this model, and then we're going to take a look at what the GFS has to say as far as total snowfall and total freezing rain, and then we're going to close out the video. All right, now here we are taking a look at the total freezing rain. That first very bright shade of pink, that's where you're under a 1/4 inch of ice. There could still be some significant impacts in there, but not quite as much as those darker pink areas. As we move into that second shade of pink there, that's where we're at about a 1/4 to 1/2 an inch of ice. So that's where we start to see the impacts begin. So for regions in Texas, Louisiana, portions of Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky there. We even see that third shade and fourth shade and fifth shade. That's where we're moving up to like 1/2 an inch to 3/4 of an inch to 3/4 of an inch to an inch or even more. So let's move into the eastern United States where we expect even more here. So we can see for Kentucky, portions of Kentucky up through West Virginia, we're taking a look at an inch plus for some of those regions. So that's where we're taking a look at an even more significant area. But this is a little bit more uncertain than the snowfall. These models have a little bit more trouble forecasting the accumulated freezing rain. So I don't want to say anything is set in stone because this could shift around a lot. We could see the most freezing rain down for Louisiana and Texas. It could move up into Connecticut and Long Island and New York and New Jersey. We don't really know. We just know there will be freezing rain. That bullseye, we're going to really need to watch that closely as that progresses. Now, you might be wondering, that's one model run. What are the odds of Oklahoma and Texas seeing 15 inches plus? Well, we're seeing agreement from our GFS model here. As you can see, those very bright pink shades there for Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, Missouri. It shows a little bit less snowfall, but still, I mean, we're still talking a very major snowstorm for these regions, very unusual. And as we move up into the northeast, this one actually has a more significant snowfall for these regions, as we're taking a look at about 12 inches plus from Cleveland up through into northern Pennsylvania, New York, and then even in through most of New England as well. Okay, as far as the total freezing rain according to the GFS model, it has a tiny bit less, and it actually has it much further south there. But as you can see, for southern Texas, southern Louisiana there, and then a lot of Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, and Kentucky, we're taking a look at like half an inch, 3/4 of an inch throughout a lot of those regions, whereas the European model did not have it for those regions. And then this one really spares New England from a lot of that, and it keeps it further south in the mid-Atlantic. So there is some differences, like I said, on the freezing rain, especially where these models are very disagreeing on the freezing rain totals. But nevertheless, they both have significant freezing rain. It's just the location that is going to be really hard to pin down until like the day before or something like that. For that reason, my confidence tab, I'm at about a 3 out of 6. Right now, we know there will be a major snowstorm. We know that there will be major freezing rain event, but where will it set up exactly? Well, there's a lot of question marks as it pertains to that. So we're going to be wanting to track this over the coming days for you guys. You guys can stay tuned to future updates. I honestly think this could be the most impactful winter storm of the entire winter. So I want to track this one religiously, guys. I'm going to be here constantly trying to update you guys on what's going to happen with this winter storm, and I'll keep you guys up to date with the latest. But always stay tuned to the National Weather Service as well with their updates on your warnings, watches, and advisories especially. You can always click on your county on the National Weather Service tab, and they will give you the exact information for your exact county. Obviously, I'm just one person making a 10-minute video every single day, so I can only pinpoint it so much, but you're going to get a lot more detail there from the National Weather Service, especially as it pertains to a life-threatening event like this. You're going to want to stay tuned to them. Anyway, for today's comment of the day, I asked you guys, how much freezing rain do you think is possible with this storm? And Silent Killer said maximum amount of freezing rain, I guess it is 0.88 inches, and that's very specific. I think it's bold, and I would like to see this low of an amount, because that would spare us from the 1 inch plus amount. So we're hoping for the best. We're hoping for less ice here with this storm. Maybe snow instead would be a little bit less impactful. So we're hoping that we don't get as much freezing rain as these models have suggested as is possible. Anyway, for today's patron highlight of the day, I want to thank you all for supporting the channel, but especially our platinum patrons: Sebastian Tal, John Benbenek, James Wade, Dovey Nagel, Alan Belemo, Adam S., Larry LePan, Donna Carnes, Cameron Marshall, and Aidan Mattis, alongside our diamond patrons: Bill Roberts, Alan Sherry, Marcus Connolly, Noah Harley, Michael Codalesa, Michael Buell, Terry Curtis, Catbite, Charles Stinnett, Kellen Manhart, It's Jay, Cindy Klein, Alicia Davis, Mark J., Luke Falago, Gary's, and John Quilisi. If you would like to be a part of this Patreon end screen of the day, you can do so by joining our very exciting Patreon page in the description and in the pinned comments down below. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and be sure to share it with your friends, family, and social media. I will see you guys in the next video.